Hey, what's up everybody? I'm starting the second year of these little lesson videos. I've been having so much fun with them, I'm just going to keep doing them. To conclude, last season we had worked on a blues workshop, and I kind of said, I wasn't sure how many parts were going to be in it. Well, 3 is about all I'm going to do, because I started to realize this could easily turn into like a 12 or 14 part video series, and I'm just not going to do that. I think that would bore most of you. And when it comes to blues, if you want to learn more, of course, I teach. And also there's some great books out there. Try to find a good book called Blues Rhythms out of Musicians Institute. Anything from MI is great. So if you want to continue with that, those are some good options there. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing probably for the next 3 months is sharing with you some things that I'm picking up from a class that I'm taking at Berkeley. It's an online course taught by Steve Vai, yes, that's Steve Vai, and Scotty Johnson, yes, that's Scotty Johnson. If you're unfamiliar with Scotty Johnson, the guy's a monster musician. He's played with Paul Gilbert, and he's got like 1 million theater credits being a pit musician. The guy's an amazing musician. So what I'm going to do is try to pass along some tips that I'm picking up from that class. I think many people would really benefit from this. I'm definitely benefiting from this. So now obviously I can't share with you the actual course materials. I can't share with you, the videos from all that stuff, because that would be illegal. And I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to get fined, and mostly I just don't want to do that, because that's just poor musicianship there. So what I'm going to do is kind of show you some of the tips that I've picked up, and hopefully you can apply some of these techniques to your style of playing. So I want to start out with vibrato. So vibrato, I know a lot of you probably already know the technique, but there are some things that I want to clean up because of a lot of musicians, a lot of guitar players that I've seen apply vibrato. Their vibrato is very one-dimensional. So hopefully we can try to improve your vibrato technique. And if you're not familiar with vibrato and you don't use it very much, we can get you started with that. So let's dive right into some vibrato. All right, one of the mistakes that a lot of rock guitar players make, and I know because I was that guy when I first started working on vibrato, is the one-dimensional vibrato. This is a vibrato. You use the same style of vibrato for every situation. A slow song, you do it the same way. A fast song, you do it the same way. And a lot of times that's as Steve Vai would call it, the deranged mosquito vibrato, where what you're doing is you're just pulling the string out of tune, and you're vibrating an out of tune note because you just don't have the control. So working on control is very key to vibrato. The first step you want to take is make sure you're hitting the right note. That's the right note. That's not the right note. So you want to make sure you're not pulling down on the string, the weight of your hand's not pulling down on the string and vibrating it that way, because you're just getting an out of tune note. Now, different styles of vibrato. Of course, pulling down on a note, downward like that, and that makes the note go sharp. That's really what vibrato does. It makes the note go sharp and flat. If you push up, you get the same result. It's going sharp. It's just a different feel. Which, you find you have to do on the first string, because if you pull down on the first string, you're going to pull it off the fretboard. Another style would be kind of the classical style. And this is what I did at first, because I played viola before I really played a lot of guitar. And so that's kind of the back and forth. And the thing with that is I started doing that because finally it was a technique that I wanted to do on viola very badly, because it just made the note sound cool and just look cool. Yeah, doing that kind of thing. But it's easier, I think, when your hand is in this kind of position, or if you're playing cello or bass and your hand's in that position, it's a little bit easier. When your hand's in this position, it's a little bit tougher. And I think this style of vibrato, at least for my taste, it's a little too shallow. You can only go so far sharp and so far flat when you're pulling on the string and pushing on it. When you pull on it, it goes sharp, it tightens the string a little bit. When you push on it, it slackens the string just a touch and makes it go flat. So one of the things I picked up from this course and just from watching, being a Steve Vai fan and just watching a lot of his live videos and watching his approach, his hand always looked very elegant when he did this vibrato stuff. I'm like, that just looks cool. I mean, it sounds great too, but it just looks cool. And it's a circular vibrato where you're kind of getting the best of both worlds in terms of the, that kind of thing, which, like I said, just always felt weird, this classical style. And as Steve would say, a lot of rock musicians do this kind of thing too. Anyway, so what the circular thing does, you're pulling down on the note, pulling the note, coming in a circle, and then slackening the note a little bit. So instead of the note going sharp and then back, it's going sharp, flat, and it's just going up and down like that. So you're getting a wider range of vibrato. And what you want to do, try this with every finger. And you don't necessarily have to do a circular vibrato if that's not what you want to do. The idea is to pick a note, set a clock for 30 minutes, or have a clock and wait for 30 minutes to be over, and pick one note, one single note, and with every finger try these different styles of vibrato. See how slow you can go, see how fast you can go, see how wide you can make the note go, but all the while keeping the core note in tune, making sure that when you vibrate the note, when you make it go sharp and bring it back, make sure you bring it back to the in tune, no matter how wide it goes. You don't want to keep the note sharp, then it's just out. So try how fast you can go. Change the speed, change the depth. Every finger, every string. Try this on every string. Try this little meditation thing on every single string, every single fret. And one of the cool things you do, put on a groove of some kind, maybe even just a song if you don't have like backing tracks for songs. Just get a song that you like and just improvise over it, all the time focusing mainly on vibrato. Another thing you can do is vibrating multiple notes. What I like to do is kind of hang out on the fourth and the second string. Again, same rules: how fast, how slow, how wide, how shallow. And then try this with two strings, maybe two strings side by side as opposed to one string apart. And you want to make sure you're hearing each note, and that each note sounds like an individual note. Each note kind of has its own little voice. Try it with three notes. And this can get kind of difficult because when you're playing with chords and you're doing this kind of thing, a lot of times when you bend down on a note, your fingers can get in the way and accidentally, when you vibrate, accidentally touch one of the other strings and cause it to mute. And you want to avoid that. And that just takes a lot of meditation and intense practice to make sure that you're keeping all those notes really clean. And you don't, by clean, not necessarily like a clean channel, which would be good. You can still do this with a dirty channel. But multiple notes. So try that. Vibrato is a great little thing to add to your playing. It's kind of the soul of the note. You can really make a note say something by just adding a little vibrato, giving the note some movement instead of staying in the same spot all the time. So work on that and see what you can come up with.